Hello everyone, Suji's here from Fragmix and it's time for some PS4 games. So E3 is over, but there was so much information to take in and it was hard to keep track of all the announcements. So today we are going to list all games for the PS4 that were announced during E3, and there is a lot of them. The Order 1886 by Ready at Dawn Studios, based in 19th century steampunk-influenced London. Mercenary Kings by Tribute Games, an arcade-style 4-player co-op game by the same developers who made the Scott Pilgrim vs. the World game. Galaxy, a top-down game by developers 17-bit. Ho-Ho-Cum, a really odd-looking game focused on player exploration, much like the popular exploration game Journey. Dying Light, a game being developed by Techland, the same guys who brought you Dead Island and Dead Island Riptide. Elder Scrolls Online, a game we have been keeping an eye on for some time now, coming from Bethesda, developers of the Elder Scrolls franchise, but this time in MMO format. Need for Speed Rivals by EA, another addition to the impressive Need for Speed franchise, revisiting the cops vs racers action from Most Wanted and Hot Pursuit. Madden 25, again by EA, promising to provide the most realistic rugby experience possible. That's right Americans, I called it rugby and not football. Deal with it. Skylanders Swap Force, I couldn't tell if this was a whole new game or some sort of big DLC for the existing Skylanders game, but either way it's bound to bring more collectible toys to the shop that you need to collect to unlock in-game. Call of Duty Ghost, a game by Infinity Ward, and announced very recently, adding another game to the Call of Duty franchise, adding a dog to the game as well. Yep, a dog. Yay. Blacklight Retribution by Zombie Studios, a first-person shooter originally on the PC as a free-to-play game focused around multiplayer gameplay. Thief by Eidos Montreal, it has been a long time since we last saw a Thief game, and this one is most welcome indeed. Who doesn't like stealth action? Pro Evolution Soccer 2014 by Konami, running on a new engine with improved physics. Dragon Age Inquisition by BioWare. Dragon Age games make for fantastic RPGs, so another game in the franchise is more than welcome. Star Wars Battlefront. Now despite its incredibly short reveal trailer, we all jumped out of our seats at the thought of another Battlefront. The old Battlefronts were amazing back in the day. Tom Clancy's The Division by Massive Entertainment. This game looked absolutely incredible and had us all waiting to eagerly see the name of it during the reveal, and then we saw that it was a Tom Clancy game. Oh well, can't hurt but wait and see I guess. The Crew by developer Reflections, a racing game that promises to be very impressive indeed. NBA Live by EA Sports. We've covered football and soccer, so why not basketball? EA Sports UFC by, you guessed it, EA Sports. I think it's a safe bet to say that almost all sport related games in the list are by EA. Mirror's Edge 2, this was an unexpected yet extremely welcome surprise, a prequel to the first game following the origin story of Faith. Good job DICE. Primal Carnage, Genesis by Lukewarm Media. Want to shoot dinosaurs in a Jurassic Park style environment? Then this is the game for you. Carmageddon Reincarnation. Now I can't say I know much about Carmageddon, however I heard a whole ton of hype surrounding it. The game was funded via a Kickstarter campaign with a lot of support, so let's see what Stainless Games has to offer later this year. War Thunder, this game has already been released to the PC with fantastic air combat. The game will now be coming to the PS4 around launch date. All Point Bulletin Vendetta, an attempt to revive the previously failed game thanks to some dedicated fans supporting Reloaded Entertainment's Kickstarter campaign, which I believe is still ongoing. Cyberpunk 2077 by CD Projekt Red, the developers behind such games as The Witcher. This new game will be RPG based, not much information has been released yet, so we'll just have to wait and see. Batman Arkham Origins, a successor to previous games, Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, a prequel going back to the days before Arkham Asylum. The Evil Within, a survival horror that looks gory as hell, promising to be a terrifying horror game. Wolfenstein: A New Order, look no further for some Nazi killing action when this series makes a return. Octodad Deadliest Catch by Young Horses. I have no idea what to say about this game whatsoever. If you hated games such as Quap, you may want to avoid this. Don't Starve, this has been around on PC for a while now in some form or another, and is very addictive and fun indeed, so it's nice to see it make a debut on the PS4. Transistor by Supergiant Games, the hack and slash futuristic game. Oddworld Abe's Odyssey, new and tasty. Now this is a title we didn't expect to see. This game was surprisingly fun and addictive all those many years ago, so we are certainly welcoming Abe's return. Daylight, a first-person survival horror game where your only companion is a cell phone and you are abandoned in a hospital. Nothing could go wrong, right? Basement Crawl by Blooper, there's very little news about this game other than a really creepy clown. Warframe, I was surprised to see this one coming to PS4. It was launched on PC this year as a co-op third-person shooter and it's a pretty enjoyable game, worth checking out. Tiny Brains by Spearhead, an indie 4-player co-op puzzler coming as a downloadable to the PS4. PlanetSide 2, another fantastic MMO, now coming to the PS4. This first-person shooter revolves purely around player versus player combat with faction-based warfare. DC Universe Online. Okay, well, it's clear that Sony are loving MMOs this year. The game has been released for a while previously on the PS3 and PC, but will now be making a debut to the PS4. Raise the Dead by Ragtag Studio, a hybrid of action, stealth and puzzler, where you play as poor old Ray, a newly raised undead who is just trying to make sense of everything. Destiny, created by Bungie, who formerly worked on the Halo franchise, this being a first-person game which emphasizes on cooperative play. Outlast by Red Barrels, a horror survival game where you have to survive against an asylum of deranged murderous inmates. Sounds like fun. Diablo 3, I think it's a safe bet to say that we all know what Diablo 3 is. Blizzard are now porting the game into PS4. In fact, we did a news story about it a while ago. Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, a Final Fantasy RPG by Square Enix, coming to the PS4 in 2014. Mad Max by Avalanche Studios, developers behind games such as Just Cause. Mad Max will be based in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, which I think is safe to say makes any game awesome. Then again, there was that Rage game. Kingdom Hearts 3. Yep, you heard correctly, the whole showroom floor went crazy when this game was announced, and for good reason. Kingdom Hearts is an amazing series, and there is finally going to be a number 3. Thank you, Square Enix. Final Fantasy 15, yet another Final Fantasy game in the works. Let's hope this one is actually good. Watch Dogs by Ubisoft, yet another amazing looking game that has the whole gaming world eagerly waiting on the edge of their seats. This game is promising to be one of the best titles to be released this year. Secret Ponchos by Switchblade Monkeys. This game has a lot going on and it's hard to determine what genre it actually is. Deep Down by Capcom, a fantasy dungeon crawler. Need I say more? Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Despite being announced at the Microsoft conference, it will in fact be coming to the PS4, so don't worry PlayStation fans, this game is not leaving you just yet. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt by CD Projekt Red, an addition to the Witcher franchise, this time being based in an open world with a non-linear story. That is a welcome change. Infamous Second Son, based in a world controlled by surveillance, the protagonist fighting to regain humanity's freedom. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, another game in the amazing Assassin's Creed series by Ubisoft, this game being based on a pirate culture with a brand new protagonist sailing the high seas with Blackbeard himself. Drive Club, a first-person perspective of, well, a car driving game, perfect for any car fanatic. Battlefield 4, the reveal for this game was intense and impressive whilst it showed off multiplayer. This is certainly a game to watch. Killzone Shadowfall by Guerrilla Games, another entry in the Killzone franchise, a futuristic shooter with more opportunities to kill Hellghast. And lastly, Knack by Sony, an adventure game about a small construct created to protect mankind. And there you have it, all the games announced for PlayStation 4 in this year's E3. Please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you next time, where I will most likely go through Xbox One's games. Goodbye.